Hi and welcome to The Venture. I'm Suzi Dafnis and I'm here with Robert Gerrish and Valarie Khoo. Today we're talking about trade fairs, and regardless what industry you're in, there is probably a trade show that you could be involved with. But how useful are trade fairs for small business? Robert?
Well, I think they can be very useful, as long as you know what it is you're trying to sell and who you're trying to sell it to. Fairly basic stuff. But they can be good. I just think you need to do your homework. You know, it's very, very important that we know who's in the room at these trade fairs, and if a trade fair organiser or an exhibition or conference organiser can't give you a very detailed profile of who's going to be there and how many of them are going to be there and where you're going to be positioned, you know, then kind of don't do it. But if you can get satisfactory answers to all of those, and as long as you're well prepared, and I'm sure we'll come on to look at that, I think they're a great thing. I think they can be used really, really effectively.
That's right. With the right audience, if it's the audience that's full of your prospects and leads, it's fantastic. But you've got to make sure that you're ready for it. So you've got to make sure you have your elevator pitch ready. You've got to make sure that you're engaging and welcoming when people actually come to you. But most importantly, and I think that this is the biggest mistake I see when I go to trade fairs and exhibitions, is that make sure that your actual booth or stall or stand is visually appealing and that people can look at you, look at your stand and know instantly what you're about. If you've got a name that doesn't actually say what you're about, then make sure somehow you've got a very brief, quick, 5-word explanation of what you're about, so people know straight away and they're not sitting there just wondering what in the world you do.
I know I've been to trade shows where the big corporate companies have got the big booths and they've got cars and dancing girls and all sort of things, but you don't need all that. You also don't want to be too minimalist and be sitting behind a desk, which is one of my pet hates, is going to a trade show and here's someone sitting behind a table, waiting to speak to me, checking their emails. Yes. So you want to be standing up. You want to be ready to engage with the person that's just walked up to you. And I think you want to be prepared. It's like showtime, as far as I'm concerned, and being ready to present your business.
I think so. It's just, the most powerful thing you can have on a trade stand to draw people is a happy, smiling face. You don't need, yes, it can benefit to have other things as well, of course, but there's nothing as welcoming as just someone who looks like they want to talk to you and has got something interesting to say to you. And I'm the same as you. If I see one more exhibitor sitting there doing their emails and looking down when they should be looking out, I'm just going to, shut their computer and pull the plugs out. It's crazy. It's like walking into a cafe. If you walk into a good, successful cafe, someone will kind of pick you up with their eye the second you walk in. You'll see somewhere that's organised. You'll see somewhere that's clean. Again, trade tables with coffee cups on them and half-eaten sandwiches. Come on, this is so basic, isn't it? And yet so many people do it. You'll get it wrong.
And another important thing is, because you see a lot of incentives at these, and competitions at these trade fairs. So come and give me your business card and you'll go into a competition to win an iPad or something. The important thing is to make sure the prize or the incentive matches your business. There's no point offering an iPad if you're a locksmith or a chiropractor. So make sure it's actually something useful so people are entering for the right reasons and are really likely to be your lead or prospect because they're interested in that prize.
You make a good point. Obviously when they're doing those giveaways, they're looking usually to collect names. So that's one of the benefits of paying the money to be at a trade show. But what are some of the other reasons that it could be a good investment for a small business?
Well, I think, clearly that's one of the key things is to get leads, but it's very good for you to trial propositions. You can it's a way for you if you're in the kind of business where you're creating new products, you can get a very good, very quick kind of straw poll test of a number of users. You can trial different propositions verbally as well. And sometimes it's just good for your brand to be seen to be there, to be out in the marketplace. But just to take up one of Valarie's points here about prizes, we had our own conference this week, coincidentally, and we did a different kind of prize where we actually incentivized people to go and visit the exhibitors. So a little bit like one of those kind of coffee club cards. You had to go around to exhibitors and get your card stamped. But the deal was you had to have a meaningful conversation with the exhibitor. So we actually made some of these exhibitors who are maybe not so proficient have lots of conversations, and they loved us for it by the end of the day. And yes, somebody won an iPad. But I think the thing is to get into conversation and not to be afraid of it. If you're not someone who's comfortable starting conversations with people, then for goodness sake, employ someone for the day who is. Don't if you're not good at that stuff, get someone who is good at that stuff.
one of the things that we like to do, because we're an online organisation, we really only ever deal with our customers virtually on our Facebook page, on our webinars, online. So when we can get in front of real people, it's such a wonderful opportunity. So we take photos, we take video, we really use the opportunity to build those relationships in a totally different way. So for a lot of businesses who do more and more of their business online, it's a great opportunity to give your company some real mass. It's like suddenly you have a physical outlet. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity if you can take it.
Yeah, I think so. I think as long as you ask the right questions, you know, where are you going to be positioned? Where's your stand going to be? What do you need to kind of equip it? Who's coming? Who are they? How many of them? As long as you've got those kind of basics in place, then I say to a lot of businesses, give it a go. You know, if it's full of the correct target audience, why wouldn't you be there?
And think of it as you're being the host of your own cocktail party. You know, and introduce people to other people, connect people, make people feel welcome, be a host of your cocktail party.
It's interesting you say that, because that's how I feel. Like I'm there, I feel like someone's come to visit my house, and I'm there, and you know, I'm connecting those people who are chatting, and oh, you're talking about your business, and have you met Sally, who's always also in that line of work. One of the key things, and this is probably where we'll finish up here, is that to follow up. If you take the trouble to pay for a booth, to collect the names, make sure you follow up. Otherwise, it's a totally missed opportunity. Thank you for joining us here on The Venture. We'll see you next time.